Connect to Success. I am your host, Ashley Owens, your personal networking concierge. On this show, we interview the power networkers of the greater Philadelphia, South Jersey area and all over the world, because now we have Zoom, and that's what happens in a pandemic. We get to chat with people, and all the gates are down, and everybody likes to hang out with everybody else across the world and country. So I have the pleasure and the privilege of finally, for the love of God, being able to interview my friend, my wonderful, wonderful, incredible subject matter expert on LinkedIn, Brynne Tillman, who is the CEO and runs to me, she runs SalesLink. So thank you so much, Brynne, for being here today.
Oh my gosh, Ashley, I'm so excited. We've been talking about this for years.
I mean, it's really obnoxious how long it took everybody to kind of come together and put this together, because I am just, I feel like I just got to tell the audience how just obsessed I think we are with each other, almost to the point where it's obnoxious, because when the world was okay, we were together at events, and then we wouldn't be able to do our jobs because we'd just sit there and then we would just chat and get to know and then pass each other different leads and things like that, and then we couldn't actually work a room because we just wanted to hang out with each other. So it was, I miss those days, but with LinkedIn now and with everything that's been going on in the world, I know who you are and what you do, what makes you awesome, but please, please, please tell my audience, who are you, what do you do, and what makes you awesome?
So I'm the CEO of Social Sales Link, and we help sales professionals schedule more conversations by using the power of LinkedIn. And it's pretty much, that's all I do.
But you do it in a way that is so, I feel like people sometimes still have a stigma about LinkedIn, right? Because it is a platform where there's, thought leadership, there's articles, there's, being able to collaborate on a professional level. And what has been your take? Obviously, the pandemic has done a big number on everybody and how they communicate and how they digest information. I'm sure everybody asks you this, but what has changed since the pandemic? But what has really strengthened since the pandemic, but while using LinkedIn for you? And what have you seen with your clients?
So I love that. First, I'm going to say what went wrong, and then we'll talk about what strengthened. Because the first thing that went wrong is people panicked and said, hey, I built all my business through networking and meeting people in real person, and I'm not doing that. And so I have to go to LinkedIn. And so I begin to connect and pitch everyone, because I'm desperate and I don't know what to do. And I do look at it, I don't judge. I'm just saying stop, because it's not working. So here's the thing. This is our new networking, right? This is our 24/7 networking. These are our trade shows, our conferences, our business card exchanges, our awards dinners. It's all here. This is where we're doing it. The same people are in the room. It just happens to be virtual. Mm-hmm. So we need to treat them the same way. In fact, we say often, treat the person on the other side of the message you would if they were on the other side of the table. So we've got to back out of, I'm using this as my sales prospecting tool, even though we want to grow sales, and we're going to, but we want to look at it as our networking event, right? This is the networking event. So I'll give an example. Let's say you found an article that's attracting and engaging your target market. So we call them magnets or centers of influence, or someone that is speaking to your audience, not your competitor, but it could be a Brene Brown or a Tony Robbins, or it could be a local influencer or chamber leader that when they put out content, the small businesses are engaging on it. Okay. So that author, that's the keynote. And all the people that are commenting, those are the people in the lobby waiting to start to get into the keynote. Mm-hmm. So you walk into the room, right, where they're commenting, that's the room, and you walk into a circle of people that are talking. You would not poke your head in and say, hey, I help businesses like you do this, this. That's not how you start a conversation. You would first listen, what are they talking about? Add your 2 cents around that topic, right? And start to get to know people. Maybe you exchange cards, that's the connection request, right? And you have kind of a conversation around the existing conversation. Now you go into the theater room to sit to watch the keynote, and you have someone to the right of you and someone to the left of you. And now you might say, so what do you do? But we know because we're on LinkedIn. So now it's, I noticed that you do this, this, and this. I'm curious about this. That is a normal conversation, right? And so if I could get any message across, it's treat the people on the other side of the message you would if they were on the other side of the table. We can't connect and pitch. It's a bait and switch. And we need to really connect human to human. And by the way, ultimately, bring insights, bring value, build relationships. The sale will come when the time is right.
And what you are putting out there, very much to your point of value, you are actually creating your own keynote when you put out there, articles and being a thought leader in that space. So you're actually creating your own network or your own event, quote unquote, with that kind of description that you made. I've never heard that before. That is brilliant. Tell me you've got an article that outlines that I can share, because that is a brilliant depiction of how to continue to network by utilizing what we're doing online. What I also really love about what you do too is that you practice what you preach. Like every time you get a very pitched message on LinkedIn, you screenshot that and say, what did he do wrong? Or what did this person do wrong? You call them out in the best way. And I'm not saying rude.
I block them.
Right. You block them. It's not a rude thing. It's more of like, this is the perfect example as to what not to do. And there's always a teachable moment in everything that you post. And I find that to be so powerful, and it also, being able to practice what you preach. What has been for you the biggest change? Because as somebody who, you being a power networker in that space, you understanding the logistics and the strategy behind it, what was a surprise challenge for you this past year?
Surprise challenge. Well, so the challenge is dealing with the unknowing, the fear of what's going to happen, I think, is the bigger challenge. So it's a mindset problem, right?
Right.
What ultimately, and this was, across the board, there's this panic, right? Especially for, my whole business was flying around the country training big sales teams for a very long time, right? And I'm not getting on an airplane. And your business at the time was, really teaching people how to network exceptionally well in person, right? So the shift, I think the challenge is to get through the fear and of the unknowing, of the not knowing. I don't know if unknowing, but of the not knowing, kind of what's to come. But, we are products. I wish I knew who said this, because I quote this all the time. I'm going to have to Google and find out that, 10% is what happens to us and 90% is how we react or how we respond to what happened to us. And so, here's the 10% fear. Now, what am I going to do, right? Like, what am I going to do? So we have to make a pivot. And I know that word has been overused quite a bit through the pandemic. Pivot sounds like a new dance, but, but we, that's what had to happen. And so for me, the pivot was, all right, my responsibility, the overarching responsibility, is to help people grow their business. It's never been more important in this moment. So what am I going to do to provide that value? Again, bring value, present insights, build relationships. The sale will come when the time is right. And I say that because this is what I decided to do. I went through I exported all my LinkedIn connections, and there were a lot. And I went through and I identified who are my community leaders that are challenged right now, the people that ran these networking meetings, the people, right? So I went to every chamber that I've ever done business with, that I've ever spoken, associations, and I put together a program for free called Building Relationships During the Pandemic with LinkedIn. And I probably did it 150 times over 3 months, like 3-4 times a day.
Wow.
And out of that, and I, things manifest, right? Like out of that, I ended up launching a whole other side of my business that was sort of pandemic free. It was all remote membership site, $29 a month.
Yeah.
Really being able to help the masses at a low dollar amount from home. So I was able to make that pivot.
So that pivot is so important. And I know, again, you said we use the word often, but there needs to be, what drives me crazy a lot about business owners is that they provide a service without actually looking at what the problem is they're trying to fix. So they'll just create it for the sake of creating it, right? I think this is a problem. Well, have you tested it? Did you ask the question? And I'm sure like with your shift in jumping into everything being virtual, being able to fly everywhere and now everything, being online, it was going after the issues and the challenges that your network was having, like asking those questions, identifying those pain points, and then being able to create a process and a service that actually made sense for the people who needed it. And like you said, it's not $1,000 per session. It's $29 for a membership based off of the needs of the client. And I find that to be, especially with entrepreneurs like myself and you, that we think in such a way that we are able to troubleshoot faster than the average company. And yes, there are a ton of, I was just talking to my friend about this the other day, and he made a really good point. And he goes, yeah, a lot of people are struggling. We're all struggling. We all had to make a move. However, there are entrepreneurs, they're doing okay. They're doing all right because they know how to troubleshoot and everything is always on fire at all times. So being able to make that shift was really, really insightful the way that he said it. But your services, let's go deeper into that. I want to hear more about this membership because this is before we jumped on. This was the first time I was hearing about it, so I'm so excited. So please tell people more about how they can get involved in that membership.
Yeah. So, and I also want to clarify, I am still doing the corporate training all virtual, but the membership, just for the record, it wasn't a complete pivot. It was an extra lane that we added.
It was a little dance to the left.
Just for the sake. So the membership is really fun, right? So if with the e-learning, it's $99 one-time payment and $29 a month. It's full-on e-learning, and there are 8 sessions of coaching every single month. So it's group coaching 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Myself and my team, you come on, you ask your questions, you learn from other people. It is one of the reasons it's doing so well. We have over 1,000 members right now. And one of the reasons that it's doing so well is that it became this community of business owners and coaches that, they show up for us, but even for each other. And they're all doing business with each other. So the ROI for a lot of these folks is significantly even more than what they get from us in terms of coaching on how to use LinkedIn to grow their business. But this is their reoccurring networking meeting.
Right.
Week after week, and they're building deeper relationships. And all, on a coaching call, they're like, "Yeah, I hired Sandy to help me do that." I'm like, "That's awesome!" Right. So it's this ecosystem and community that came out of LinkedIn coaching, because we just attracted really great people that wanted to figure out how to use LinkedIn to grow their business. And they have their own little subset groups that meet, and I'm like, that's awesome. That high tide rises all boats.
And Brynne,
and the other fun thing is we have a ton of competitors that are members. So and people, great. I've had people say, why are you doing that? And I said, because not just, hey, I'm open and it's fine, I'm happy. Again, high tide rises all boats, but they bring additional value to the community. So, sometimes, I'll be answering a question and Judy Hayes will say, hey, wait, can I add to that? I'm like, absolutely, right? Like, so the different perspectives get shared inside the community. So, it has become one of my favorite things. It's my favorite hours of the week. It's just phenomenal because it's having such an impact on folks.
And when we return, we're going to talk more about that impact, how you encourage your clients to be impactful, and then your tactical tips and practical takeaways in online networking. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Why buy local? When you shop with local businesses, you're spending your money on more than just the item you're buying. You're adding a building block to your neighborhood. It starts with a single purchase, maybe a cup of coffee, groceries from a local co-op, or even a shiny new bicycle from one of the nearly 28 million small businesses nationwide. Your money doesn't stay in the till for long though. Local business owners use the money to create a lot of economic activity in your neighborhood, like buying from suppliers, many of whom are also local businesses, paying taxes to the city, which builds and maintains the infrastructure we all rely on, employing local workers, contributing to 65% of the net new jobs each year. Add this all together and you've got a recipe for a happier, healthier, more connected neighborhood. Now that's an investment worth making.
Welcome back to Connect to Success. I'm your host, Ashley Owens, your personal networking concierge. I'm here with the famous Brynne Tillman. She's the CEO of Social Sales Link. Brynne, before the break, talking, and obviously during the break, because we love to chat, I wanted to hear more about how first of all, your membership, I'm so excited about. Congratulations, my friend. I was so pumped. But I really would love the audience to have some takeaways from today, because you and I are very, very, very tangible and tactical in the way that we present, because we think that, you have to walk away with something. You have to walk away with an actionable item after you listen to, your presentation, my presentation. It's important, and then we both value that very, very much. So in this next section, I would love for your experience to I would love for you to talk about more of when you hear people say, I'm not ready to do LinkedIn, or I don't think it's valuable for my business. What do you say to them? And then how do you start to educate them in building up a network on LinkedIn?
So I love that. So the first thing is what you're doing working for you right now?
Great question.
Right? So if what you are doing is growing your business and you are exactly where you want to be, then that's great. If you need new avenues to grow your business and you are in a B2B sale, you are selling to businesses, even if some of our most successful folks are real estate agents and financial advisors. So if you sell to B2B or you network B2B, right? So my financial advisors network with CPAs, right? So that's a B2B. Then you have to be where those people are, right? So if you used to go to Chamber of Commerce meetings or a BNI meeting once a week, or, right, what are you doing today to, to continue to build relationships, right? So Bob Berg, who wrote The Go-Giver, and he also wrote a lesser known, but in my opinion, even more powerful book, which is Endless Referrals, coined people do business that they know, like, and trust, right? But how do you get to know people today when we're in lockdown? What are you doing to get to know people, right? So we have to attract, we have to teach them something new to get them interested in listening, and we have to engage them in conversation. So you can do this across the board. There are lots of great tools that can enhance this, but in my opinion, LinkedIn is the hub of finding these people, attracting them to you, and it gives you that opportunity to map out your buyers and get to them. So the people that are like, I don't want to be here. Again, if your business is going gangbusters and you don't need to prospect or build a network anymore, then that's great. If you do, here's what you need to do. I'm going to go through 5 things. The first thing you do before anything else is brand your profile so that you're showing up as a resource, not as your resume. Your resume is if you're looking for a job. If you want to use this for business development, you've got to be a resource. Corporate Visions did a study that tells us 74% of buyers choose the sales rep that was first to provide insights and value. 3/4 of the people are choosing. So when they show up, we have to provide insights and value right in our profile. Once that's done, we've got to go grab all of those business cards with rubber bands out of the corner of our desk, right? And start going through those and connecting with the people that we've met in real life, right? Like grab that in-person network and start to build it online. And you can send, hey, we met a couple of years ago at a chamber event. We never got to connect online. Now that we're doing business, you know, in the cloud, right? And we're networking, I wanted to reach out and connect with people that I've networked with before. If you're interested, let's chat. And there's lots of what you could do. One-on-one networking. You could say, hey, I'm going to put a Zoom together and have 30 people show up in a room for networking. Like, we can redo the networking and just do it in Zoom right now. But you've got to be connected to these people. That's number 2. Number 3, you need to show up with value. That could be creating content and curating content, but putting out value. Now, here's the key. It isn't about things you want to tell them. It's about the things they want to consume. So we have to listen to our audience and say what really matters to them, what's going to get them engaged. And if you don't know, start with a poll. That's a great way to find out what your audience cares about. Plus, that's content, right? And they want to know. So you become the thought leadership subject matter expert simply because you asked a question that leads to insights for you to help you share and create the content that will engage your network. Number 3, make sure that you are connecting with all of your clients and mine their connections. Identify, who do your clients know that you want to meet? And have a conversation with them. And the conversation isn't, hey, Ashley, I see you're connected to 27 people I'd like introductions to. Can you help me? No. It's, Ashley, you're connected to quite a few people on LinkedIn that I'd like to be reaching out to in the next couple of weeks. But before I do, would you be open to a quick conversation and provide any insights that might help, right? Now we have a conversation, and Ashley's really, really busy, and I'm not going to ask her to introduce me. So even we've got 27 people, it goes down to 8 people that she goes, this, I know you're really good at doing this, and these people would be great for you. And now I can say, when I reach out, would it be okay if I mention that you've been my happy client and that that you said that it made sense for me to reach out? Absolutely, sure. So then I go out and, hey, Brenda, Ashley Owens and I were chatting the other day. Your name came up in conversation. I've been working with her for a couple of years, and she thought I should reach out and introduce myself. Let's connect, and we can set up an introductory call. And I'm assuming the call, because Ashley said, half of those become conversations, hands down. Was that 3? Number 4.
Yeah.
Right? I think,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
No, number 4, do this with your networking partners, but it's 2 ways now, right? Invite them to mine your connections, bring a list of 20, 25 names. You can do the same, review them when you're on a Zoom call, just share your screen. And then agree to make 4 or 5 meaningful introductions for one another.
Yeah.
And number 5 is engage on centers of influence and magnets. Find your magnets. Who are the people that non-competitors, direct competitors, that are attracting your audience? You can Google TEDx speakers on topics. You can Google authors on topics, right? And then go find them on LinkedIn, follow their content, engage with them, and engage with all the other folks. We talked about that a little bit, but here's an extra tip on top of that. So now Ashley Owens is my magnet, and she is bringing in tons of entrepreneurs and sales teams that want to engage more on social and networking and want to manage their relationships. And I'm like, yes, those are the people I want to have a conversation with, right? So what do? I now start to engage with them around the topic Ashley posted. How do I convert that to a conversation? Well, I'm going to reach out and connect and say, I see you love Ashley's content as much as I do. Did you see her Connect to Success video from 3 weeks ago with ABC? It was amazing. If you're interested, let me know. I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
Now they're like, yes, I want that. And we begin a conversation. And remember, I found an influencer that is kind of in the same realm of what I'm doing. So that conversation will naturally go, hey, if you really like this, I posted a blog post around that. Would you like a link to that as well?
Right.
Sure. but it became this very natural progression. Not, hey, you're commenting on Ashley's stuff, let's do business together. Like, it doesn't work that way. And so, those are the things that really help us to leverage LinkedIn. And it is our replacement for in-person networking right now. We've got to treat it the same way.
These tips are just incredible to listen to and to hear and to kind of be walked through. I think people just forget. I mean, this is the most stereotypical thing to say. People forget about the human connection because right now it's hard. It's incredibly challenging to feel like you're still connected to people in the kind of situation that we're in. But everything you just laid out made it achievable. And that's what I love about how you train and how you teach and how you coach, is that it becomes very, 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 very easy for people to follow, because it is a progression that humans should be going through anyway. And so it just so happens that there's a growth potential with your own business when you're a good human. So it's wonderful. So Brynne, do me a favor, tell people how they can find you, how they can sign up for your membership, myself included, and give us the best contact information for people to reach out.
Thank you. So socialsaleslink.com/membership will take you to the membership. I am still the only Brynne Tillman on LinkedIn, so I would love to connect with you there. Let me know that you saw me here, and I'll send all kinds of resources, free resources for fun. And my last tip for anyone out there is slow down the outreach to speed up the outcome. Don't go mass messaging everyone and praying that someone's going to return a message.
Yeah.
Treat this as a human being on the other side. So slow down the outreach, have real conversations to speed up the outcome.
Brynne, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for watching Connect to Success. I am your host, Ashley Owens, your personal networking concierge, where you find your tactical tips and practical takeaways in networking. If you need anything when it comes to networking or LinkedIn, Brynne is your person. She is the subject matter expert in that field. She is the person you want to go to in that capacity. I'm her #1 fan. I'm such a fan of everything that she does. I will do anything for this woman. So shave my head? Sure, no problem. So thank you again very much for watching. Brynne, you're the best. Thank you, my friend, for being here. And we will see you next week. Bye-bye.